Hey y'all.
Hello.
Welcome to Medicine Wheels Rose City and Skate Like a Girl PDX really good info session. Hey y'all.
Hello.
Welcome to Medicine Wheels Rose City
Um,
hang on,
do
I've
you
got a
hear
little
that like
bit of a
echoing
feedback
back?
really good info session. There we go. Okay, are we better there? Good. Okay, cool. I was getting a playback, which was really whack. Yeah, so welcome to a really good info session with Skate Like a Girl and Medicine Wheels Rose City. We're super stoked to be here today to just talk about the things that we like and to help y'all get rolling the best way you can. Start by intros. Tanshe, I'm Essay. I am the Medicine Wheels Rose City project director. I have been running this project for just around a year now, and it's a really cool way to keep BIPOC and queer folk rolling safely on Native land. I'll throw it over to Carly if you want to give yourself an intro, and then Maya.
Hi, I'm Carly. I'm an Up2Us coach for Skate Like a Girl, and I also do art for them. And I'll throw it to Maya.
Hello, my name is Maya, and I'm an Up to Us coach with the Portland chapter of Skate Like a Girl. And yeah, both Carly and I coach skateboard programs, and it's pretty fun.
That's rad. Yeah, I'm super excited to actually talk today a little bit about the differences in wheels, but also the similarities in writing style. And maybe we could take like a quick moment to talk about what y'all do, your preference of equipment and riding, whether you're a skateboard, longboarder, whoever wants to start, and then I can talk a little bit about quad skating.
Yeah. Carly, do you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, so I do mostly skate park and street, but I thought it would be really fun if I talked about longboarding because that's what I first started doing when I first learned how to skate. So when I used to longboard, I did a lot of like commuting, downhill skateboarding, and also free riding, which is kind of like when you're doing a lot of power slides going down a hill rather than just like going as fast as you can. And I will talk about a little bit about different wheels that you use for that.
Cool.
Yeah, and I mean, I mostly skate park and street. And because I like to skate like a little bit of everything, I like to use wheels that are kind of like in the mid range, 99s. We'll get into like the technicalities later, but yeah, wheels are something that when I first started skating, I didn't know a whole lot about, and it's only in like the past couple years that I've learned more about it. Like when I first started out, I would just pick my wheels based on the graphics alone. But now that I've been skating a lot longer, it's nice to have like a different perception of it and like different aspects of the wheels that make me choose the ones that I do.
Yeah, for sure. So I used to pretend like I knew what I was doing skateboarding, and I got into quad skating just about a year and a half ago. I thought I was going to be really good at it, and it was the most humbling process ever. And um, definitely really realized there's a lot of different variations of quad skating. I am more into park skating and skating ramps, and all the advice I was given in my process did not work for me. And I will definitely touch on that a little bit as we chat here, because I think finding the right equipment for yourself is super important for for you to have the best experience possible skating. So yeah, let's like get into it. I mean, in the real world, I think there's a lot of similarities between both quad skate wheels and skateboard and even longboard wheels. We have in quad skating like wheels that start as small as like 27 millimeter to 42 millimeter in width, and then like 47 millimeter to 70 millimeter in heights. They can be bigger than that too. It just depends on, who you're sourcing your product from, but that's pretty standard. And that matters somewhat in quad skating of, how I always laugh. I'm like, how high do you want to be off the ground? I don't want to be very high. So I like a shorter wheel, but I also like a shorter, fatter wheel for uh, riding. But like, say a wider wheel, and maybe this is the same in skateboarding or longboarding, but wider wheels tend to be really good for outdoors, for grip and like speed, honestly. Is that similar for skateboarding or longboarding?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
definitely.
Is there like something specific, like what why wouldst one want to have a like a wider, fatter wheel for going faster? Is that like something that you would do to bomb hills, or like what would be the application for those?
So basically for downhill skating, you would use a wheel that looks kind of like this,
Hmm.
ideally bigger, because you want to have a wide contact patch because that will give you more roll speed. So the
Okay.
bigger the wheel, the faster you'll get speed as you're rolling.
Oh, that's rad. Yeah, I
Hmm.
think that's the same for like in quad skating, like bombing hills, or even like derby. I think the I don't know a lot about derby, but I think the wheels tend to be a little bit wider in that, just for maneuverability and quick stops and speed, because I'll never understand that sport. I respect everybody who does it. It just scares me.
Yeah. And then, yeah, like as far as skating goes, like depending what you're trying to do with skating, like if you're using it just to get around for transportation, you're probably going to want bigger wheels so that you can roll over cracks and bumps. Whereas when it comes to more technical skating with like tricks at skate parks, most people prefer wheels on the smaller side, just
Mhm.
because that makes things easier.
Hmm.
For sure. So what did y'all start with? Like, what was your understanding of wheels when you started? And especially like Carly talking about longboarding and Maya with skateboarding, like what what were you told, and then what did you find worked best for you? Because I think this is some like a nice topic to kind of onion layer peel away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I can.
Oh, you can
Okay,
go
Carly, if
ahead.
you, do you want to start, Carly?
Sure. Okay, so when I first started skating, I knew a lot of guys who did downhill. I was like the only girl except for one girl that I knew, but she came way after this. And they all would skate like wheels that looked kind of like this and that were even bigger. And so I got a board that had wheels like that. And then I really struggled to learn how to power slide because it's actually so much more difficult because it's not round. So there's
Mhm.
more grip, and they were so big, so also that makes it even harder. And over time I eventually met someone who like set me up with a board that was like way smaller, that had rounder wheels that were kind of like this. So these are like rounder soft wheels that are way better for free riding. And then the moment I started riding that board, I was just like, oh, power sliding is actually easy if you have the right setup for you. You don't have to destroy yourself the way that I did, trying to figure it out on the big wheels. So that was really awesome when I finally found what worked for me. And I didn't care that like everyone else had some different setup, but like you just gotta find what works for you.
Yeah, for sure. Maya?
Yeah, I mean, my experience, like, I got into skating when I was 9, and, like, for the first few years, I was just getting, like, Walmart boards, and then, like, finally, I saved up $100 to buy a complete from the skate shop because,
That's
like, my parents weren't gonna get me a nice board. So, honestly, it probably just had stock wheels and bearings, like, the worst possible wheels or the cheapest ones that you could have. It didn't matter to me, like, it was just having a complete skateboard was enough. But then when I actually was able to like start picking out my own wheels, like I mentioned before, I didn't know what I was looking for, and like the guys at the shop probably weren't going to take the time to explain it to me because I was just a kid, and maybe they didn't think that that information would even matter. So I just picked it out if like the wheels were a cool color. But now that I know more about wheels, uh, I would say I like to skate between like 53 and 55 millimeters. And so I have my setup here. Uh, so these wheels, these are actually the new Skate Like a Girl Spitfire collaboration wheels. And I'm riding 55 millimeters, and they are 99 durometer, which we haven't gotten into yet, but that's the hardness of the wheel. Um, and so, yeah, now I know a little bit more, and I definitely would say I like wheels on the harder side versus softer. But yeah, it really just depends because you can care about the technicalities if that matters to you. But I was talking to my friend Isaac earlier today, and he was like, "Yeah, like I don't really know about the numbers. Like I just like to feel the wheel." And he said he even like throws it at the ground to see if it bounces. And if it does, then it's too soft for him. So
Yeah.
it's kind of just whatever works for you. Like if you want to learn all the specifics, you totally can. But some people just do it by looking at it and feeling the wheel, and that's totally okay too.
Yeah, I that like speaks to my little heart so much because when I started off, I started with a pair of like Moxies, and I think they had like that standard wheel on them that like Impalas, like most people that start quad skating get like, the again, it's not a super accessible activity because like you said, the Walmart boards is such a real thing for so many people, and like getting a complete, even though it's like not the best gear, seems like such a thing. And it's usually a wheel that's like what is like 85A or something like that for like the standard Impala wheels, and like the Rainbow Riders from Moxie. They're so good to like kind of begin with. They're like what I would consider a mid-range like hybrid wheel because you can ride them indoors or on a ramp, but like they're a little too sticky. And so I was told that I would probably thrive really well with a hybrid wheel or a softer wheel because it'd be better for like skating at distances or endurance and like just that like bounce back. Like I bought so many pairs of soft wheels and I was like, I just don't like this. Like, I don't like the way this feels at all. And then one day I went into a shop and I was like, I kind of did the same thing. I was like, these, like, I went so extreme. I went from like an maybe an 82A to a 101A, and I haven't looked back since. And it's been the like greatest joy for me. I like when I'm skating asphalt, when I'm skating down a sidewalk, I don't mind feeling every blip and every like element of it. And I know some people want a smoother ride. Maybe I grew up on gravel roads and that explains my need for like every rivet along the road, but it feels right to me, and I feel like I have more control, like I'm more aware of everything that's around me. um, but yeah, like I have to laugh because I like the two setups that I have. One set is like just like itty bitty baby, like 58s, and then like 5832s, I think, and they're like 101As, and the other one is like my soft wheel at like a 99A, same size, and it's like I'm like, oh, it's pretty soft. I went and bought some, what are they, actually I have them here too. Laugh at this. I got these wheels because I was like, this is going to be so sick. Like I like try something softer, the street flows for quad skating, and they're 89As, and I'm like, damn, these are so gummy. Like, so it's really surreal as to finding what you want for the type of skating you want to do. But I find that like the harder wheel is good for me universally. Like I can take them to a rink, I can take them to a park, I can skate a ramp, no problem. I feel really comfortable with them. So but yeah, let's talk a bit about hardness and softness. You had mentioned the big D word, Maya. Do you want to kind of just mention a little bit about that?
Yeah. Durometer, it's the hardness of the wheel. Wait, am I mixing that up, Carly?
No,
No.
you
Okay,
got
that's
it.
correct. Yeah, and then with skate wheels, they kind of range from 78 all the way up to like 101s. 101s
Mhm.
being the harder wheels and 78 being like the softest possible wheel. And the wheels that I ride are 99s, which are kind of just good. They're like a good all around wheel
Mhm.
for someone that wants to do like a lot of different types of skating. But like if you're skating more at the park, you might want softer wheels because some parks can be really slippery and you don't want your board to go slipping out from under you. So having wheels that are a little bit soft will help you grip to the ground better. Um, but yeah, Carly, if you want to add to that.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, on the longboarding side, I guess, I personally really like 80 to 82A hardness. And I feel like that kind of hardness, if you're going like at any speed like over 25, they'll slide really easily.
Mhm.
And they like feel very smooth. And ideally you would want to get some that are kind of round lip like this ones. And also if you're going really fast, then that's when you want to get something like a 72A or 74A, because that will give you more grip when you're skating. So one other thing that I did want to mention about that is that any wheel that you get that's good for like free riding is also like a really good cruiser wheel. So if you have like a cruiser, like that's probably like a good board to like try and like do some power sides for anyone who wants to like try it out. And also if you have a board that's like pretty good for like long distance pushing and has like big wheels, that's kind of like the same stuff that you would want for like going faster down a hill. Like, so those are like the correlations there.
So, like getting down to basics then for people that are wanting to just like be able to pick out wheels and have like some sense amongst themselves, because it's nerve-wracking too going into a shop and asking
Mm-hmm.
for advice. Like, it's it can be a very humbling experience, or like an uninviting, like an experience that feels uninviting. So just like kind of as a note for people that may be looking for a wheel, the higher the number is, the harder the wheel, the smaller the number, the softness of the wheel. Softness equals stickiness. Hardness means like like going
Mm-hmm.
fastness. um, and I think it's really important, Maya, that you mentioned too about like even in park skating, just because it's kind of similar too with quad skating, but like if the wheel is really hard, you can slide out on yourself. And so like
Mm-hmm.
learning, I don't know, maybe like we can kind of touch on this a little bit. It's a little off wheel, but like, with weight distribution and balance and stuff, I think it's also important to just recognize like um, what you're capable of doing with whilst on that wheel, right? Like, you might be like, I can do this thing, and then you're like, no, I can't, and then being able to realize that maybe you need something different. Um, I think that's a really important aspect of like being like, okay, I think I can do this thing in this wheel, I can't. So knowing your limitations.
Yeah, exactly. I would say like best piece of advice for someone who's brand new and just doesn't even know where to start. I would say start in the middle, and then you can always like go up or go down depending on how the middle feels. So like 99s, like it's like a good starter wheel for sure.
Yeah, and that's for skateboarding, right?
Yeah.
And then yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Carly, your suggestion for like someone starting out.
So yeah, I think for someone starting out, usually people when they start out, they know if they either are interested into like maybe going down a run and just like doing the full run, no power sides. Like a lot of people are very into that, just like bombing a hill. And for that, I would suggest they get like a square lip wheel, such as this, something that will be grippier, and something that will be around like again like 72, 74A hardness, and that will like provide some grip. But if they wanted to just like, kind of cruise around, maybe do some power sides too, or maybe have a smaller setup, then I would recommend like a maybe like a 60 millimeter wheel with like 80A, 82A. I think it's like a really awesome like Dura for like just like powered side or just like pushing around.
And I think that's something that was brought up there, and we touched on a little bit earlier too, is the differences in wheels for the type of skating that you're going to be doing. Again, finding what works best for you is really important. But like, say in quad skating, you've got like artistic dance, like rhythm skating, which is like the coolest thing ever, and that you need like like a harder, smaller wheel tends to work better. So, it's a lot more smooth glides. You're able to maneuver a little bit better. And they're built for a little bit of speed because there's a lot of quick rhythmic movements. Outdoor wheels for quad skating are, tend to be softer. Again, like I had mentioned earlier, people don't want to feel the bumps or like you're going down a sidewalk, and that it really helps with that. It's got that like little bit of a bounce that you're saying that your friend didn't like, Maya, but like
Yeah.
I definitely throw wheels at the ground too. It's like, you came back to me. I don't want you. And then derby wheels, like they tend to be wider and built for speed and quick stops. And again, like I don't know a lot about derby, so I'm not going to pretend like I know much about it, but it's just such a cool sport that like scares the bejeebus out of me. But then like with ramp and like bull rides and stuff like that. Like a thinner wheel, a smaller wheel is so great for that. It just helps maintain speed and like just really smooth on concrete surfaces for the most part. And I think it's what I prefer to use on just about every like again element that I do, whether I'm sidewalk or in a parking garage or trying to pretend like I can do any type of stunt. I feel more confident in a harder wheel. Um, what else? Is there anything else that you want to throw in about like the hardness, softness aspects?
Um,
Mm,
I think we could probably touch on diameter briefly.
yeah,
Yeah.
I could also say one thing about like the pavement that you're skating on for like softer wheels. Um, there's this thing where like if you're skating there in here in Portland specifically too, there's a lot of roads that are kind of like really old and messed up.
Yeah.
And if you're in a road like that and you're on like a square lip wheel that might be like way softer that you would think it's harder to slide, it might be really easy to slide
Mhm.
on that type of pavement. And then if you're like in really smooth pavement, then that's when like it's even harder to slide with the
Mhm.
same wheels because like there's that much grip, which is like the contact of how much like the wheel is touching the ground. And I
Right.
feel like that's kind of like an interesting thing that it's kind of difficult to even consider when you're first starting, because like I've definitely had that happen where like I'm like these are the best wheels ever, like this is like the perfect harness, the perfect size, and then I'll go to like a different city and skate something and be like, oh my god, I can't even like push a slide out, like this is not happening. And then you have to always consider like all the elements, I guess.
Yeah, that's super important actually, and that makes me feel really daft because I'm like, I like the wheels that I like, and I don't like anything else. But then I haven't really skated anything besides the normal like four places that I skate. So I think I've just become really privileged and stuck in my old ways. But yeah, let's talk about the magical two numbers, which is the durometer. Oh wow, I can't even say the word right now. You say it, Maya.
Well, I think we just said that, durometer.
Yeah,
We're talking about
durometer.
diameter now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
is the
Well,
other.
it's the two numbers on the wheel, right? Like I want to talk about that
Mm-hmm.
because that's a really good identifier for people who are just starting out, right? So it's the hardness and then the diameter. Wow, I can't even say it right. This is so funny.
Oh, so like the durometer is the number?
Durometer. Okay, there we go.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't get it out of my mouth. Durometer and then the diameter, because like that's on every
Yes.
wheel, right? When you like, so like I have a set of Moxies here, right? So you have like
Mm-hmm.
the durometer. Ugh, I can so I don't know what my mouth is doing right now. And then you have the diameter
Mm-hmm.
on each wheel, and
So
that's
the
how.
diameter, yeah, so the diameter is measured in millimeters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, most ski wheels will be between like 50 to 75 millimeters, but I would say like the 50 to 60 range is more common for like park skating.
Mhm.
Um, like my wheels are 55s, but I've skated a mix of 53, 54, and 55 over the years. And yeah, it really like if you're like skating vert, you're gonna want bigger wheels because vert like it's really easy to slip out. But if you're doing really technical tricks, you're probably gonna want like 53 or 52 millimeter wheels.
Mhm.
Um, but again, it's just all like goes down to personal preference. There's nothing wrong with like switching it up, and like one or two numbers isn't going to make a huge difference. Uh, but yeah, what about you, Carly, when it comes to like just skate park riding?
Uh, Skate park riding. Actually, when I first started riding a skate park, I wore I used 58 millimeter wheels because
Oh.
it was like me trying to transition from like I'm always on my longboard to now I'm on street deck, and like eventually like I had a lot of people always make comments like, "Damn, like you're on like 58 millimeter wheels,"
Yeah.
and eventually I realized that it was making my board heavier than it needed to be, and
Mhm.
that yeah, and that it was like easier for me to like get like wheel bite and stuff like that. So then from that I think I transitioned to like 56, and nowadays like I'm doing 53 millimeter wheels, and I would say those are my favorite for sure.
Cool. Yeah, Carly just mentioned wheel bite. So basically, can actually see it on my board. So like, where is it? Right. Oh,
Oh yeah.
over here.
Mm-hmm.
Reverse camera.
I can't figure out on the camera. So that's like when you're turning, or like when
Yeah.
you land a trick, and the wheel will actually like make contact with your deck, and then that
Yeah.
can just make you like stop short all of a sudden. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so people that are skating bigger wheels will sometimes put riser pads, and that just like goes right underneath the truck. So then it raises the truck up a little bit, so you have a little bit more clearance for the wheel. But
Yeah.
yeah, so like even with 55s, I get wheel bite, but it doesn't affect me too much. But yeah, if you're skating anything, I would say like over 55s, then you might want the riser pads.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's good to know. I'm actually going to probably look into that a little bit because it's like super interesting to me, like thinking about the fact that like the board has that much like movement that would actually happen. Like that's kind of wild when I think about it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then it
Yeah.
also has to do with the tightness of your trucks, because if your trucks are on the looser side, then
Yeah.
that makes it turn more. So yeah.
Yeah, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Yeah, well, I mean, like, I'm looking at my setups right now, and it's really funny because like there's going to be things that along the way that you learn with skating, and it's honestly like I think that the approachability of it, like if you see somebody skating at a park, it's kind of intimidating, you know, whether you be on a skateboard or on quad skates or even rollerblading. I've seen a lot of really cool stuff happening in that movement lately, and I'm just like completely floored at like the community that can get built around it. So if you can find like a pocket of people to like uh, converse with and talk about that, like there's always going to be somebody that'll recommend something to you, and it might not be for you, but I definitely encourage people to find ways of accessibility to try things out. Like I lend wheels to people all the time because I'm like, you have to find the thing that you like, because that's literally the part that makes you move. Like for one thing, for me, like in the boot, like the boot is really important because I like movement. I don't like a stiff skate, but like the wheels really ultimately, it's like my feet like are literally dependent on how the wheel runs for me. Otherwise, I'm just uncomfortable. And it's so amazing how much it's connected. Like I was saying earlier, learning how to interact with your gear based solely on how the wheels run and how your body reacts to movement within the wheels. I think it's such a cool thing. It's like I feel like I become one with my skates when when I'm on them, and I'm like, I don't want to sound dorky, but I'm sure y'all feel the same way when you're on the skateboard because it's like a separate but connected part of you, and like you're just
Mm-hmm.
literally creating the thing that brings you comfort and joy in movement. So,
Totally. I think going off of what you were just saying, I thought one more thing that will be good to add is that like when people are picking wheels for like longboarding, like thinking about like how much you weight kind
mm,
of like really also can make a big difference. Because like for example, like not a lot of people would be down to skate like in 98 wheels because like
mm.
it's kind of like you even try to start a power slide and you just go. Like it's like
Oh
you're in a yeah, you're like on a bar of soap. But like for like a smaller rider like me, like it worked out, you know, it felt
yeah,
right. And then like and but if you're like 6 feet and like, you know, like a big dude, like that's just not gonna work out for you. Like you're just gonna have to be way more sensitive. And I think that's another thing to consider because like again, when I started, so many of the people I knew, actually 99% of the people I knew were men, and they were all telling me what they know, and like it just wasn't what was gonna work for me as a smaller person.
yeah, yeah. That's another really good thing to bring up. Like um again, like I was saying, I like feeling everything, so I use a harder wheel when I'm skating. But like, but I'm also a thick boy, so I appreciate it because like it allows me to have better insight to my body, I guess, if that makes sense. But like I have friends that like are also thickums, and so it makes sense that they want to use a softer wheel because that feels better for their body, right? So I think that that's a super cool thing. And again, just specifically to quad skating is just find the thing that works for you. Like if you can figure out how to rhythm like skate in softer like 78s, all the power to you, you know, because that's what feels comfortable to your feet. Like, um, of course, certain wheels are designed for certain things, but I mean, again, just finding the things that are right for you. And I just want to, you know, I know our time is coming to an end here, but I want to reiterate a couple of points just to kind of encourage people, because again, all of our opinions are based on our cultivated experience of skating, and each one of us is different in how we interact with it and the reasons why we do it. And that's what makes it really cool. But the major things are like, so talking about the hardness, you know, so the higher the number, the harder the wheel. Wheels come in all sizes. And again, like I said, for quad skating, they start as little as 27 to 42 in width, and then 47 to like 70 plus in height. And that like, it makes a difference. Like I don't like being tall, but you can get a softer, smaller wheel, you know, if I was into soft wheels, you know, like there's so many options out there. It's just knowing the fundamentals of it. And again, like the two magic numbers on every wheel will really help explain that of the I can't say the word durometer. Why can't
You
I
got
say
it.
that? Like
You
it's like
just said
it
it.
is, but like it's like really like the I feel like the wheel is turning, but the hamster is like I'm eating seeds right now or something. Like not not computing. And then the hardness and like on and maybe you can specify too on so on roller skate wheels, like we have the A's behind them. Are those on all of the skateboard wheels too?
Not on all of them, but yeah,
Sometimes.
the A scale is the more common one.
Yeah,
There's also a B scale, but I guess that's not as commonly
I
used.
don't think I've ever
Like I
seen
don't
that.
think I don't
Yeah.
think I've seen it. I don't know about you,
Yeah.
Carly.
No, I never seen it.
Yeah. Well, I think that those are the most important takeaways from this is, you know, like you, like anyone who has watched this will watch this. It's really about knowing the fundamentals and then finding what works right for you, you know, and that's the cool thing about skating is, you know, making it your own and building a little community around that. So with that, I'm really thankful to both of you for hanging out this evening and just chatting about wheels and what you do. And I think it's really awesome to just see like a whole new movement, especially in the last 20 years of like people that are relatable to like see that look like the people we wish we would have had showing us how to do things or like be a part of it. So I'm like super grateful that you're all teaching a new generation of skaters that it's cool to do it no matter what you look like or where you come from. So
Yeah, absolutely.
major snaps to
Thank you
y'all.
for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
me
to
And
hear.
too.
yeah, I look forward to doing another one where we can talk about other cool, really cool stuff.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Later, y'all.